Hello again, Facebook friends. We are live here in the studio for Meet the Messenger. We're recording another episode. We've got 8 total interviews today, so there's a whole lot going on. All of these are tagged on the Meet the Messenger page, but they're on my primary profile. So if you're seeing them elsewhere, thank you for sharing them. I know the last interview was shared as well by quite a few people and seen by a couple hundred. So we appreciate that. We appreciate all the attention. And for those of you who were not paying attention on the last one, we have 4 books to give away. So you have a chance to get your hands on Divine Detours. And we have a free copy of that for the first 4 people to comment and say, I want that book. Don't do it on this message. You have to go find the other one with Shannon Alford, and you have to comment on that post. When you comment on that post, the first 4 people, of course, your name and your timestamp will be on there, but that's the only way you're going to get your hands on the book. So if you want a free one, that's how you get it. Right now, though, we're going to interview the lovely Shannon Alford, and we're going to talk about what it means to be a mother of 8. So in a minute, I'm going to ignore you as we turn to our studio cameras and record for the show. But big shout out to everybody. Say hi to Shannon. And then in the meantime, y'all be quiet, shh, because we're about to record. And so all the audio is on, all the cameras are on, and you're just watching from the background. Welcome to Meet the Messenger. I am your host, J. Laurie Norris. I really appreciate you being here today. Today, our in-studio guest is a mother of 8. Yes, 8. And no, it wasn't on accident. It was on purpose. They did it very intentionally. But as a mother of 8, there are some things that we learn about motherhood that are not the average experiences. And sometimes we learn about disasters in life that change the way we see life. So as we talk to our guest today, I want you to kind of think of those things that make you question why you do what you do. Sometimes what drives you is different than the results you're expecting. Welcome, Shannon. We really appreciate you being here with us today. So I guess the first question that you get asked all the time is, why 8 and why didn't you stop sooner?
You know, I think that in all my wildest dreams, I never would have imagined that I would be raising 8 children. I'm a very organized, disciplined, structured, think it through kind of person, and God just came in and messed up all our plans.
So you're not a woman of chaos most of the time.
So, no, it's organized chaos.
Organized
chaos,
okay.
And so, you know, raising 8 children has its challenges, but it also shows you the heart of God, and I think that's been the greatest blessing from being able to raise this many children in a day and age that has so many things coming against them, that we're able to have the opportunity to raise up 8 arrows in our quiver that I believe are going to rock this world for Jesus. And I'm so excited, and both Sign and I, we look forward to see all that God has in store for their lives.
Now, you said something interesting there. You said raising 8 children has its challenges, but it really reveals the heart of God. What do you mean by that?
You know, you're not able to really, I believe, you're not able to really see how much God loves you until you have the opportunity to open up your heart to love those that are around you. And I think Sign and I, when we got married, we had we wanted the opportunity to be ministers and to go out, and we had such great plans of reaching the world for Jesus. But what we have found is that worship is not something that you just go and do. That worship is really a lifestyle, and that lifestyle starts in the home.
Oh,
and
wow.
so when we opened up our home to 5 more children, we have 3 of our own, and we opened up our home to 5 other children and said we would raise these 5 children as if they were our own. Then it showed us that it was a time for us to really examine our lives of being able to love beyond comprehension, to be able to see the gifts and the abilities in others that were not our own, but actually love them enough to pour into them, whether it was financially, emotionally, spiritually, everything possible that we had the capability mentally, and be able to share with them that God has a purpose and a plan for their lives, and that everything that they are being able to see in a household and be able to get along with brothers and sisters. If we can all get along as 10 people in a household under one roof, and appreciate the differences and everything that comes into play on a day-to-day, 24-hour, 7 days a week basis of running a household. If we can do that as a family, then we can reach this world for Jesus.
Tell me what, and I understand some of these kids are grown now, or they're really close to it, a couple off in college.
Right.
Let's back up, say 6 years.
Okay.
What's a Saturday morning like in the Alford household?
Okay. When the five, my brother's children and my sister-in-law's children, 5 kids came to live at our house, the typical Saturday morning was, their children's were ages from 5 to 15.
Wow.
And when we woke up in the early morning, you had a bunch of bedheads coming down and wanting to eat. And so my morning started very early in the morning. I always had to rise before everyone else to have breakfast ready, because immediately they were going to come down like locusts and want something to eat.
And that's like feeding a football team. I mean, your husband and 8 others, that's a lot of people.
It's like a full-time youth group. And so
that's a good way to put it, I guess. Yeah.
They come downstairs. There's the interesting fights and arguments of who's going to sit where. I mean, just your typical everyday, ongoing things of coming down and sitting down, and everybody wanting to eat and wanting to share what's on their heart, what they're going through. And so our family consisted of a lot of dynamics because of ages, because of trying to blend 2 families together, coming together. It was a blended family. And there was a lot of different dynamics to that, because my brother and sister-in-law both had passed away, for one. So now we have become not only an distant aunt and uncle, we have become mom and dad. So we had that transition to have to go through. Then my children had to learn how to share their mom and dad. So there were so many dynamics, and in numbers, when you get so many children together, there comes an element of competition. And so very early on in our family, we tried to let each kid be who they are in Christ and pull out the giftings and abilities, and for everyone to appreciate each other for who they were.
Right.
And it was all the same playing field, that there wasn't one that was greater than the other, whether it was older to the youngest. We always tried to make them feel like you are special because you are you, and God's created you for a purpose and a plan, and we are just being good stewards of trying to find out who you are so that we can give you the direction and where you can go and how you can flourish and grow, and whatever it is that the Lord has for you to do, that you do it for the glory of God.
Now, the circumstances surrounding the adoption or the moving into your house, is that something that you talk about, or is that still quite a private matter?
No, it is something. I shared it in the book, and I felt like as I was sharing, I had a friend to come and say, Shannon, I really do believe that your story can help so many blended families, so many people that have lost a mother or a father and that are having to be raised by an aunt or an uncle, or in a foster care situation. I believe that your story can help other people. And so out of that, I began to write. Well, I had no idea how much it was going to help me, because once you're in the flow and in your life, sometimes you forget that you've gone through some things because you're just dealing with what it is that you have to do for that day.
Today you don't realize this is a lesson, and tomorrow it's really going to matter.
Exactly.
And you're like, why do I have to do this again?
Exactly. So I feel like that as I began to share in the book, I saw that it actually drew in the children to be able to open up. There's each person deals with grief so differently.
Yeah. And
you have to allow each person to deal with it on their own terms. We couldn't, some of them were not open to counseling right at the very beginning of anything. They wanted to just keep everything very, very private. I can remember that the older children going into a high school setting, and I would drive up in this great big 15-passenger van. Of course, that in and of itself is so embarrassing because that is not cool.
That's like riding the short bus. Who wants to be in that bus?
Exactly. So they would have me park in the back parking lot. Let us out here.
And we'd rather hitchhike.
Exactly. And we'll walk up and blend in with everyone else. The same thing with my brother's kids. They were so terrified of going and leaving from everything that they had known in Florida to go to a new state, new high school, have to develop new friends. It was very difficult for them. And then knowing that they have now other cousins or siblings that are in the school, that then they're like, hey, wait a minute, I didn't know you had a sister. And so there's so many dynamics that came into play with that scenario and that setting, that we had to take each problem day by day and work out the issues, that they would feel comfortable enough of walking in and be secure enough that, hey, sometimes things in life we don't understand why these things happen, but this we do know. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that God will work everything out for your good, for those that love him and are called according to his purpose. And so our heart's desire was to have them come to know, to love him.
Now, out of the 8, how many of them are worshipers?
I am so excited that God has blessed us tremendously, that every one of our children are some way, form, or fashion involved in church, involved in serving. And so all of them are worshipers. It's not just about going about being on a platform or singing in a microphone. They're living the lifestyle of worship. They are living the life of it. And I love that. The oldest is now 22, and she's married. And she just recently was married in June, and she married a wonderful worship leader.
Oh, wow.
And God just brought their paths together. And she is she plays the piano for him, and she also attends school. She's a business student there in College Station. And so I see that whatever the Lord, whatever you're doing, do it for the Lord. So she is worshiping on the weekends, playing piano and on a platform, but she actually has she's very gifted. She's a cubicle number cruncher. Put her in a cubicle, and she is happy, and she's ministering or worshiping the Lord when she's on her job and in her workplace. And so we're very excited to see all the things that each one of them are being able to do and accomplish.
When we come back from the break, I want to talk about some of the lessons that you learned about managing multiple different personalities. Because I know, just raising 4 of my own, that the clashes of personality are a challenge, but understanding what excites one may frustrate another, and vice versa. I love to talk about your experience in that. Thanks for watching Meet the Messenger. We appreciate you being here with us today, and we'll see you again right after the break. And those of you who are watching online, don't forget to call Frank Day. He needs your phone call. He loves your phone calls, 214-699-9650. Frank is a specialist who will help you with HR and insurance needs for your company, whether you're 1, 10, or 3,000 employees. I can't see that.
Well, I can't put it anywhere else.
You couldn't find the one that was fully charged?
This is the one that's fully charged.
Well, why can't you put it anywhere else?
Because there's no Velcro anywhere else.
I'm not worried about Velcro. Just stand it up against the wall right by the edge of the curtain. At least I can see it. Because where it's at, I don't even know it's there. I don't know what it's doing. And please turn off the sound. That Aruga was kind of obnoxious in the middle of the video.
I did.
That we're being invaded by old cars.
It was, didn't it?
I can't see it there. Back it up to the edge of the curtain, please. Perfect. Thank you.
You make no sense.
There's a table here. Line of sight. It's hidden behind the table.
Point?
I can't see it. It's the whole point. All right. Welcome back to Meet the Messenger. We appreciate you staying with us, and we are going to continue our conversation with mother of 8, Shannon Alford. Now, one of the challenges just being a parent of 4 is knowing that some kids are visual learners, some are tactile learners. I have one son who's dyslexic, and when we caught on to that fact, I said, are you seeing the words in front of you? And he goes, yeah, but it's like that one's over there and that one's over there, and then they trade places while I'm reading them. And I'm like, I don't even know how that works. But I understand the frustration that goes along with that. And trying to discipline them is so different. I have one son who's a big physical, brawny guy, and when you use corporal punishment, he laughs at you. He has since he was 2. Mom would spank him, and he would look at her and go, that's it? No, I'm calling your dad, and that's not it. So how do you, when you have 8 of them, 8 different personalities, 8 different learning styles, 8 different things that excite them or frustrate them or things that are important to them, how do you manage that?
Pray.
You pray a lot.
I think that is probably one of the greatest challenges that we have faced, are facing, and will always face as you're dealing with children and they're growing. And our hopes is that our home will always be a welcoming place that they come home to, however old they are. And we want them to love us and appreciate us. And we want them to, in turn, feel loved and appreciated. So in order to do that, you have to develop individual relationships with each and every one of them.
Wow, that's really key.
It is very key. And then how you do that is you have to be intentional about it. You can't compare them to any other one. You have to give them your undivided attention. And it is very challenging on a day-to-day basis to do that with 8 children. And when they were all under the roof, there was not a day that I would lay my head down on the pillow and I'd say, did I touch hearts with this one? Did I communicate well with this one? Is this one going to be okay? You just felt like your job was never accomplished.
Where did you learn that? I mean, was there some parenting book that came with the 5 extra kids when they moved in? They're like, oh, here, by the way, here's the manual. You need to make sure you connect with all of them.
You know, I don't know where I learned that other than just a heart of going, God, I really, as I became a mother the first time, my son, my biological son will be 22 this coming November. And when I learned I was pregnant with him, Son and I both, we were so absolutely excited. And I so in my heart wanted to be the greatest mom ever. And I thought, Lord, I have no clue. I have a great mom, but my mom had, and my mom's probably watching right now, and she will attest to this. You know, she raised my brother and I, and if we made it out the door with shoes on, and that was a good day. And so,
2 of the same kind of shoes is a really accomplishment.
Exactly. And so she was fun, and is to this day still very fun. And we love when she comes, and the grandkids love. But I thought, Lord, I want to do things that will make our children feel so, from a very early age, they'll identify what they're here on the planet to do and be able to accomplish those things and have a good sense of who they are in Christ and be able to face all the challenges that are out there for young people to face. And so out of that heart, I just began to just seek out books. I sought out different groups. I was a part when my children were younger. It was MOPS groups, mothers of preschoolers. I attended a MOPS group at a church, and then I said, you know what, I think we can do this. I lived in a small military Air Force base hometown. And I saw so many of the young women in our church that were just like me, just not knowing exactly all the right things to do, but had the heart to want to learn and wanted our kids to succeed. And so I started a MOPS group within our church. It ended up being an extension within our church that people were coming to it that didn't even attend.
Wow. And
it was such an outreach. And so it was, I guess to answer your question, it was just a heart cry of my own of really seeking it out and just trying to be teachable in any setting. And I loved it. I gleaned from other women. I gleaned from, to this day, I have a grandmother. My grandmother is still living. She's 97 years old.
Wow.
And lives 3 doors down from my mom. And every time I go home, I'm still talking to my mom. I talk to my mom every other day. My mom talks to her mom. And so I feel like I've gotten a great heritage in that the best way to be a better mom or to be a good mom is to glean from other moms and build relationships with women that you can learn from one another. And
So do you feel like there are some people who are just wired to be great moms and some who that's just not a passion for their life?
I think every mom, I think it's something that God intended for women. We are to be the nurturers. We are to be the ones that the kids want to come to mom and rest in our lap, want us to connect. I feel like difference between men and women is women, we want to connect. We want to connect not just on a surface level. We want to know what's going on in your lives, what's in your heart, what's the Lord speaking to you, what happened to you today. And so we ask a lot of questions, and we don't mind sitting and taking the time, however long it takes for us to connect. And so I think that's something.
And men are much more like just a grunt.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, if I text, it's so different. If I text my son and ask him, "How are you doing?" I get a good. And if it's really going great, it's a great. And so he's so different. But if I text my girls, anytime Son and I go and travel, my girls will go just so far with texting, but then it's like, Mom, Facebook. They FaceTime me.
Oh, yeah.
They want that FaceTime. They want to connect with me. They want to share everything that's going on in their hearts. And that's the difference.
Yeah. So parenting them is a vast difference as well. Was it a huge difference between the girls? Do you have girls who are real athletes and girls that are real girly girls?
I do. We have 5 girls and we have 3 boys. And so they all different of personality. So some of them, it takes longer for some of the girls to connect with, that you really have to dig deep, and I've had to be super intentional to develop relationships with them so that they feel safe enough to come and pour their hearts out to me. And that's just difference of personality. Now I've been blessed because all my boys are melancholy, so they come in, they
very
think
thoughtful
they're
and emotional.
very thoughtful,
yeah.
And they want to connect. So it's been super, super easy. My girls, I have several that have a choleric personality, so it's been very, very more challenging and difficult to do that. But I've also found that even choleric women, they have such a sweet, tender side to that leader that's on the inside of them that wants to accomplish and do great things. They really are super, super tender. And so we have had great challenges in breaking through all the walls and barriers that make it difficult. But I think what's been wonderful about it is that we've seen that they can be a leader, they can be strong women, but yet there's that side, that tenderness on the inside of them that can come out, that they can be great moms. They can be sensitive wives and understanding wives, and that they don't have to be the leader of their household, that they can allow their man of God, whether he is a strong verbal leader, he can still be the leader in the home, and they can submit to that.
It's powerful. It sounds like a lot of that's almost like crochet. You're pulling just enough of the thread through the hole to let them get a hold of it and do something with it. When we come back from the break, I want to kind of wrap things up by talking about the advice you would give to moms, especially, like you said, young moms. Where do you go with this? And maybe even some advice for moms who are looking at their kids in college going, wow, I didn't do that right. We'll be right back after this. So that's 8:22, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so reset that for 6.
This?
Yes, set that for 6 minutes. How do you feel? Easy enough?
Okay. Oh, my stomach's trying to.
Well, we're almost there.
Almost.
Okay.
And so we're going to talk just maybe 3 or 4 minutes of advice that you would give to moms who have young kids, and maybe then reflect on, if you're that mom whose kids are off to college and you're thinking, how can I fix this?
Okay.
Then, some ideas for them, and then we'll mention the book, and it's available everywhere, Amazon
And
okay.
bookstore, Gateway Bookstore.
Okay.
Yep.
And
SunOffer.com too.
which one?
And SunOffer.com.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. All right. Hey, welcome back to Meet the Messenger. I am J. Laurie Norris, and I am in studio today with Shannon Alford, mother of 8. I know that's not her job title. She's a platform worshiper, and you serve as a pastor too. Is that right?
I'm not a pastor, but I do serve on the worship team and sing on the platform.
And so, before we went to the break, one of the questions that was kind of rattling around in my head is, if you had the opportunity, and I know you mentioned MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers, as a tool. If you had a chance to sit down with moms who are brand new, about to be moms, or moms of preschoolers, and just give them a couple of words of advice, what would you say?
All right. You know, I have the opportunity every week on Tuesdays to be a part of Gateway Church, and they have a Bible study. It's called Titus 2. And ever since I've been at this church, even though my kids were out of the preschool age at the time, before I got the other 5, I still wanted to glean from other women and connect with other women, because I knew I'd be going through that junior high school age group. But this Titus 2 is patterned after the book in the Bible, where it tells us that we're to glean from older women, and older women are to advise and give wisdom to the younger women. And I see that as such a gap within our society today. We pretty much have gone away from because women are now working more and more outside of the home, that we've transitioned in so many different ways that we don't have that time, that quality time to learn skills or learn things that women, not that we need to be home crocheting and knitting, because that's not
practical these days.
Not practical these days.
Although it's a good hobby.
It is a good hobby. But there's things that we can learn and glean from one another. As older women, they have so much wisdom that they've gone through scenarios and situations. They've been married longer. They've raised a household. Their children are married. We can learn and glean from one another. At the same time, the older women have to realize, hey, times have changed. Things are different. So you've got to be able to communicate it in a way that is relevant to us today. How we can make fast meals, because we don't have time to cook with yeast and watch the bread rise. We need to know how we want to be able to serve a good hot meal every day to our families, but we need to do it quick because we have all of these different activities that consume our day. And so how can we bring the two together that they can encourage one another and build each other up? So to answer your question, I think younger women, you need to seek out a group that you can connect to, that you are learning and growing. Not only just the day-to-day routine of how to do this, how to do that, but spiritually being able to glean from older women. And it is not something that I honor my grandmother. I honor my mom, because I know that they have gone through things, they've seen things in life that I can always be open and hear, and they can speak into my life.
Right.
Every time my mom comes and visits with me with the children, the last thing we talk about before she leaves, I'm like, Mom, is there anything I'm doing? Is there anything you can see in my life that I can do better? And I open that door for her to give me corrective criticism, for her to say, Shannon, you're doing great at these things, but these are some things that you can, that I feel like you're short-sighted in, or you're not seeing that this need and this need. And so in order to be able to have that relationship, if you don't have a mother, I'm very fortunate I have a mother and a grandmother that I can glean from, but if you don't have that, younger women, you need to have those spiritual moms in your life that can do that, because it balances you and it helps you to be a better mom and a better wife.
And so if you're that mom who now your children are going off to college, maybe they're about to become moms, and you didn't have that mentor, you didn't have that close mom or aunt or someone to advise you through that while your kids were younger, maybe you look back now and you go, wow, I wish I'd done that differently, and wow, I made a lot of mistakes and maybe even did some damage. What do you say to those moms?
I think God understands each and every one of us, the challenges that we face. Even Jesus had challenges with having 12 disciples, and I think that's why he had to go away a lot of times and go, I got to go pray. And I think as moms, we need to see that it's okay. Sometimes we're going to face challenges, but just like Jesus, we need, if it's our bathroom, sometimes I would just go into the bathroom and I didn't even have to go to the bathroom, but I'd be like, I need to go away and get in a quiet place and pray.
Calgon, take me away.
Get some thoughts here, get my mind back focused and recalibrated, because I could see that I'm getting frustrated.
So how would a mom begin to rebuild or repair those bridges if they've, if time has gone on? We have two girls that are 21 and 27. And so one of them has kind of gone through that independent pushback, you're an idiot, I don't know anything phase. And she's coming out of that. And the other one's still, finding her wings, so to speak, and being a new mom on her own. And all of those challenges that come along with those relationships, sometimes you feel like, well, I really messed that up. How do you keep from burning those bridges?
I think, again, to say that everything is built on relationship. And you really, if you feel like, if you're a mom that you feel like, okay, I've burned some bridges here, I've said some things and I have pushed my child away, it's still not too late. Don't ever say never. It will never be this way. It will never be good again, or I'll never be able to have a relationship. You go in, pray, ask the Lord for a strategy, ask the Lord to give you wisdom on identifying what is it about that child that you love, that you can so praise and so connect with, that you begin to just reach out and just love the child. Not try to correct the relationship, not try to do anything but just lavish love on that child. And out of that, out of them seeing, wow, my mom really does care about me, because she's just giving and she's just doing things for me with no strings attached. She's just showing me love.
Right. Out
of that, I believe, will begin to build a relationship that will open up the doors for that child to just begin to say, hey, Mom, pour into me. Let's go shopping together. Let's go do something together, and it'll begin to heal whatever's been done in the past. Sometimes words, it is a powerful thing. The Bible tells us very, very clearly that life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those that love it will eat its fruit. The Lord showed me a picture of that and said it's like a garden. And you have a garden outside, and every day you go and you plant a seed by your words. And when the fruit or that grows comes out of that and the harvest comes, you can't go and you can't blame God and you can't blame anyone for the harvest that comes, because it was you and your words that began, that the seed that was planted in the ground came up. So if you look into the garden of your life and you don't see, you're not eating of the harvest that you would like to, the fruits that you would like, it's only because what's coming out of your mouth. And so I think that's when we as women, or we as just Christians, as people in the body of Christ, if we recognize and realize how powerful our words are every single day, we will then realize what we're planting in our garden, and we'll realize that what are we planting? Are we planting things that are going to produce good fruit, or are we planting things that we're not going to like to have to eat that? And I think those are the broken relationships that we all of us face, that we look at things that we've done, or we look at things that we've said, and we go, oh God, I've made a mess of this. But you know what? Just like a garden, there's seasons. Seasons, this too shall pass, and a new season will come, and you'll have the opportunity to have a good harvest. And so it only starts when you recognize and you realize, hey, I have the, whatever age I am, wherever I am in life, there's a new season, and I'm going to start anew and afresh. Great is His faithfulness, and His mercies are new every morning. And so there's seasons in our life, and as we realize that, we can change things by just speaking out things in a different light, in a different manner, and we can heal the relationships if we feel like, oh, I've made a mess of this.
Very good. Now, your book is called It Is Enough, a true story of life, death, faith, hope, and love. And right there on the cover are all of the children. I love that. It's like flipping open the wallet, and there is every single image you could possibly imagine. Did you carry a wallet with all of those?
I didn't know. Just that one.
Even Dallas is on there. It kind of looks like my little mocha.
Yeah.
So if you would like a copy of this book, you can pick it up on Amazon. You can get it at the Gateway bookstores if you're anywhere around Gateway, or you can go to ShannonAlford.com. That's Scion, S-I-O-N, Alford, A-L-F-O-R-D.com, and the book is available there as well. We very much appreciate you being here with us today, Shannon. For those of you moms who are asking that question, it doesn't matter whether your kids are 3 or 23. The truth is the words that you speak are the seeds that you plant. And if you don't like the harvest of kumquats and persimmons that's growing in your garden right now, then when the fall comes, plow it all up and start planting the seeds that you really want to see in your life. You can redo that in any season, but you do have to choose, and you have to start today. We thank you for being a part of Meet the Messenger. We'll see you back here next time. I'm J. Lauren Norris. Have a blessed day. Excellent. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Oh.
I think for the next one, I'm just going to put my jacket on and then record them or place them in the schedule a ways apart. Yeah. Unclip before you move.
Yes.
Dr. Randy out there yet?
No.
I think somebody just pulled up. I could be mistaken.
Somebody's pulling me.
Yes, that's done. Oh my goodness.